Welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today we have Peter Shankman with us. Did I pronounce your second name right?
Close enough. Sure. Why not?
Okay, perfect. So, for our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Peter Shankman. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an investor. I invest in startups. I invest in Broadway shows, a host of other things. I am a corporate keynote speaker. I've given over 5,000 keynotes to about 80% of the Fortune 500 and other companies as well. I've started and sold several companies, including Help a Reporter Out, which was my big one, otherwise known as Harrow. And most recently, I launched a company called Source of Sources, which is Harrow, but much better.
Okay. So, what did you realize, that your ADHD was a gift, not a problem?
So for me, ADHD was always a problem as I was growing up because I didn't
Uh-huh.
understand it. I didn't know what it was. I was always getting in trouble in school. I was talking out of turn and things like that. And over time, as I got older, I realized that all these things that were getting me in trouble were actually things that could help me in the real world. I could do better in school. I could do better as an adult than I did in school if I knew how to use these ADHD tools to my advantage. So I learned how to do that. Things like starting and selling companies on a whim because it sounds exciting, isn't something that normal people do. But it worked for me because I learned immediately, hey, this is beneficial. This can help me. I can go out and create an idea and launch it, within 24 hours because why not? Right. And so once I realized that my differently working brain was a benefit, things started really to fall into place for me. And I've written several books on the topic, and a lot of my success is due to my ADHD. It's because of it, not in spite of it.
Can you be more specific? How does that help?
Sure. So when you're ADHD, your body doesn't produce and your brain doesn't produce enough chemicals that help you focus. Your brain doesn't produce enough dopamine or serotonin or adrenaline, but there are ways to trick your brain into producing those sorts of chemicals. So you have to put yourself in positions where that works. So for me, for instance, I know that when I get on an airplane, right? The only thing I have to do, I could sit there, I could pull out my laptop and I can work because there's nothing else I could do. I can't leave, I can't walk away, I can't, whatever. I had a book on deadline with Random House and I had a year to write it. And I did all the research the first month and I forgot all about it. And with 2 weeks left on my deadline, my editor called me and said, hey, where's the book? And I said, oh yeah, no problem. I'm almost done. That was a lie. I hadn't started writing it yet. And so instead of freaking out, I bought a business class round trip ticket from New York to Tokyo, leaving the next day. And I got on the plane and I sat down with my laptop and a sweatshirt and my power cord and my headphones. And I wrote chapters 1 through 5 on the flight out to Tokyo. I landed in Tokyo, went to the lounge, had a piece of sushi, took a shower, got back on the same plane, same seat 2 hours later and wrote chapters 6 through 10 and landed 38 hours later with a book. And most people think that's crazy, but if you know what works for your brain, why not do that?
Okay, so the first thing is we have to know ourselves, right?
Well, you have to learn about yourself and learn what you have to ignore is other people. Because there are other people all around there who are going to tell you that you're an idiot for doing what you're doing, or you're stupid for why would you go on a flight and fly to Asia just to come home? Or why would you, they're not thinking 3-dimensionally like I think, or 4-dimensionally like I think. I'm thinking along the lines of, okay, this benefits me because it gives me that I'm not paying $5,000 for a business class ticket. I'm paying $5,000 for 38 hours of constructive silence with no distractions. My kid isn't going to walk in. My dog isn't going to walk in. No one's going to call my phone. It is 38 hours of uninterrupted constructive silence where I can do what I need to do and get it done.
So, what's the hardest part of living with ADHD?
The hardest part is there are still moments where you're not entirely in control of your brain. There might be moments where you're sitting there and, someone says something in a meeting and you have this incredibly funny reply. And even though every bit of logic in your brain says, you know what, you shouldn't say that, you say it anyway. Right. And the maybe people laugh, maybe they don't, but you should have kept quiet. Right. And that happens every once in a while. You have to learn sometimes it's hard, even after all these years, to figure out what the right time is or when you should socially shut up. And so you just have to make your brain work a certain way. For me, I do things very differently. I very rarely drink. I try to get as much sleep. I try to get 8 hours of sleep a night. I exercise every morning because if I don't exercise, I don't get those chemicals. Exercise releases the chemicals you need. Every morning at 4 a.m., I'm on the bike. I was literally in the gym 15 minutes ago lifting weights before I came up here. So you have to figure out sort of what works for you, how it does, and you have to create a life for you that sort of lives like that because it's very easy, much easier than say a normal brain person to go off track and to go off the rails.
Okay, so what's the simplest way to wow a customer in a business?
I'm sorry, say the question again.
So what's the simplest way to wow a customer in a
To
business?
wow a customer.
Yeah.
Well, we live in a society right now where about 97% of the customer service we receive in any capacity sucks. And so for me, I find that the best way to impress my customers is simply to be human and to respond to them and to answer their questions and to answer them when they have a question and not to send them to voicemail and not to send them to an automated AI system and to reach out when they need you because they are coming to you with a request for help and to pass that off to a computer or to a voicemail, whatever, is kind of rude. They're paying you for a service. The least you could do is help them. And I find that the simple way of doing that is incredibly beneficial because very few people do that.
Okay, so what's something that most brands get wrong when it comes to customer experience?
Most brands get wrong the premise of trying to sell to me as opposed to learning about me. Signed up, I bought a jacket for my
Okay.
partner for Christmas, a gorgeous leather jacket for her. And not only was it delivered 3 weeks later than they promised, but I started receiving emails every single day offering to sell me other products. If you like this, you're like, okay, number one, it wasn't for me. You know that I'm a guy, right? I listed myself as a male. So the fact that I'm buying something for a woman should tell you it's not for me. So get your customer metrics straight. Number two, your product is 3 weeks late. When I email you to complain, you don't reply, yet you're more than happy to send me these bullshit sell emails. Right. So now I'm just miserable at you from multiple ways. And there's no way I'm ever going to purchase from you again. All you had to do was say, hey, you know what? We're going to check in on this and make sure it gets delivered as soon as possible. Even if it was still late, I'd understand.
Okay, so if you had to grow a brand today with no ad budget, where would you start?
I would start by finding 100 people that truly like my brand. I would put them all in a room. I'd feed them pizza and I'd ask them what things they like about it. And I'd ask them to tell their friends. There is no greater lover in the world than someone who loves your product and wants to share it with the world. We should be exploiting that. We should be talking to these people and thanking them for doing what they're doing, thanking them for taking the time to like our brand, thanking them for telling their friends. No one believes in advertisement as much as they believe their best friend. If their best friend says, "Oh, that's an incredible product," you're going to believe that. But if you're reading about it in the paper, if I meet you at a bar and I say, "Hey, I'm awesome. You should come home with me," you're not going to believe me. But if your best friend's sitting there and sees me at the bar and says, "Hey, that's Peter. He's a really cool guy. You should go talk to him. You're both single." You're gonna want to learn more. So the first thing you should do is really understand your audience. Companies don't take enough time to understand the audience. They send out those bullshit, please tell us how we did surveys and that no one reads and they don't do anything. Just have a conversation. Pick a customer at random and just have a conversation with them. They'll tell you everything you want to know.
Yeah, just being real human. What personality trait would you attribute majority of your success to?
ADHD. I think that when you have ADHD, you tend to stop caring what other people think. And when you stop caring what other people think, it is a lot easier to just go do your own thing. And if you succeed, great. If you fail, great. But either way, you've done it on your own. And once I started doing that on my own, once I started going out on my own, I realized that life is a lot simpler when you stop caring what other people think and you just focus on your own goals. Focus on your own goals. Focus on making a few people in your life who matter happy and shut the rest of the people out. It's not worth it. Never read the comments.
So what you wish you know back when you started your business that you know right now?
I wish I knew that no one is ever going to care about your business as much as you do. And you are never going to hire someone who cares as much about your business as you do. And so because of that, you constantly have to make sure that you are focused on your business. You can hire people that are good, but you have to, until you're ready to sell it and walk away with no regrets, you have to be the one in charge.
You know what? I heard somewhere like if there's a customer who is a fan of our business, our brand, and they could be a good employee. What's your
They
thought on
could
that?
be. They absolutely could be. Yeah. If there's someone who loves your company, you could definitely hire them. And as long as they continue to love your brand, they will work. They will work out perfectly. The key is to make sure that you value them as an employee as much as you valued them as a customer.
Okay, okay. So right now you had a lot of business. Okay, so right now, what's your current life looks like?
I'm up at 4 a.m. every day. I get on the bike for about an hour and a half, the Peloton bike, uh, help my ADHD move forward. I take a shower. I wake up. I have a cup of coffee. I get my kid out of bed. I get her dressed. We get ready for school. We walk to school together. Usually after I drop her at school, I go to the gym and I lift weights. Then I come home and I work. I work for 4, 5, 6 hours. She comes home. I try to put the laptop away. We do her homework together. We have dinner together. She goes to bed around 8:30. I go to bed around 9 o'clock. I try to get as much sleep as possible. I usually get around 8 hours. Those are the days that I'm home. On the days that I'm not home, I'm usually on an airplane off to give a speech somewhere. And I try to fly out, give the speech, and come back as quickly as possible so I don't miss time with my daughter because I'm a single dad.
So going to bed at 9 p.m. and waking up at 4 a.m., like from how long you have been doing this?
I discovered the power of waking up early probably about 20 years ago and really put it into place probably around 15 years ago. Probably about 12 years ago, my little before my kid was born, 13 years ago. It's really, I'm not saying everyone needs to do it because not everyone is a morning person, but I became a morning person and it just changed my life. There's so much you can get done before the rest of the world wakes up. There's so many ways that you can improve your focus and your life. And it's just, there's this time in the middle of the morning when no one else is awake and you really own the world. It's the greatest feeling in the world.
Okay, so can I be more specific? Like, how was your life before and after waking up early?
When you get up early, you tend to be on the right side of things. You tend to be early to your meetings. You tend to be early for pickups. You tend to be early for everything. And what that winds up doing is that gives you that freedom to not have to worry, oh my God, I'm running late. Oh my God, I'm late for this. Oh my God, I'm late for that. The simple act of getting up a little earlier and getting out the door a little earlier means that you're not as stressed as you would be. Oh, there's traffic. Oh, there's subways not running. Oh, whatever. You're prepared for that because you have that extra 10 minutes. Really is the most subtle game changer I can even share. It's just incredible.
So what are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm running Source of Sources, which is an incredible way for journalists and media to connect. If you work in public relations or marketing, or you want to promote your small business or anything, it is a 100% free email list at sourceofsources.com. You sign up and you get 2 emails a day from journalists all around the world helping you that you can answer. And if you can answer any of those journalist requests, you can get quoted in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, People Magazine, the BBC, Independent, you name it. And it's a very easy way to achieve free publicity for your company, free SEO, free backlinks, things like that.
So, like, what inspired you to start that newsletter?
I launched a company called Help a Reporter Out, which did the same thing back in 2007. I sold it for a lot of money back in 2010. The company I sold it to ruined it after 15 years, so I decided to build it again under a new name.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so is there anything else that you would like to share?
No, I think that at the end of the day is if you're an entrepreneur, if you're starting out, if you're doing your thing, just keep doing your thing and stop worrying about what other people think.
Okay, awesome. Awesome, Beta. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and sharing your wisdom. It was really fun chatting with you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This is Genius Talk Podcast, and I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, of course. So, speaking of email marketing, if you got some questions, challenges, doubt, or just simply need some help with your email marketing, then reach out to me at atul@thebestemailmarketer.com and I'll be happy to help.